What's up, folks? It's your buddy Fatalroadie. Tonight we're going to be doing the Raw Recap. We started off with a recap of last week's Under Siege from SmackDown. And Kurt Angle comes out. He apologizes to the Raw locker room and said that Shane McMahon took the competition too far. And Stephanie McMahon comes out and she hypes up the 25th anniversary of Raw coming in January. Then she says to Kurt Angle that she's disappointed in how he handled last week's invasion and then names him the team captain for the Survivor Series men's elimination team. When we come back from commercial break, The Miz is stepping out of a limo. Kurt Angle says, "You're late." And after a little bit of an argument between the two of them, Kurt Angle says that he's going to have an Intercontinental match later tonight against an opponent that will be determined later. Then we were supposed to have Bayley versus Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox comes out. Unfortunately, someone in the back gave her a live microphone. And she says that she's too busy being team captain for the Raw women's team that she can't wrestle. So she sends out Nia Jax.
Dude!
Like we haven't seen this match before. Throughout most of the match, Nia Jax was hammering down on Bayley. Bayley tried to rally back for a little bit, but Nia Jax beat her down and got the pin. After the match, Alicia Fox still had an open microphone, and she named Nia Jax the first member of the women's Survivor Series team. Then Samoa Joe comes out, and he cuts a quick promo saying that he doesn't care about anyone, and he sets up his match against Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews started off pretty strong in this match, but after a shoulder tackle from Samoa Joe and a strong bit of back and forth between both of them, Samoa Joe got the coquina clutch on Apollo Crews for the win. After the match, Titus O'Neil gets into the ring, turns his back to Samoa Joe, and he gets a coquina clutch as well. Our next match is the Intercontinental title match, The Miz versus Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy had most of the offense at the start. After the commercial break, The Miz took over. Matt Hardy fights back, tries to pin, gets a 2 count. He goes up onto the ropes, drops an elbow on him, goes for a pin, 2 count. Hits the side effect, goes for a pin, 2 count. Hits a moonsault, gets a 2 count. The Miz was able to get the skull-crushing finale and gets the pin. This was actually a decent match. I really wasn't expecting the title to change hands, but it was pretty good. Afterwards, we have another recap from what happened earlier today with Stephanie McMahon, which brings us to our next match, Asuka versus Staci Cullen. This is basically a squash match against a jobber. I think Asuka's entrance took longer than the match did. This basically was just filler. I am not sure why they just tossed her a jobber when she could have faced somebody else from the locker room, but it was an alright match. We then go backstage. Kurt Angle's on the walkie-talkie screaming, "Alert, alert, they're here, they're here." The camera pans over and it's Daniel Bryan. After the commercial, Daniel Bryan is trying to apologize for what Shane did last week. Kurt Angle says he doesn't think he believes him because of what Shane did, tells him to stay in the office, and he leaves. We then have a recap of what happened the past couple weeks between Jinder Mahal and Brock Lesnar. We cut back to Kurt Angle's office. Daniel Bryan's on the phone, and all of a sudden the lights go out. Shortly afterwards, Kane chokeslams Daniel Bryan in the dark. Our next match is Finn Balor versus Cesaro. There was a good bit of back and forth between Cesaro and Finn Balor right from the start. Cesaro was able to do a superplex on Finn Balor, pulling him up from outside of the ring. Despite some interference from Sheamus, Finn Balor was able to give a boot to the back of the head of Cesaro and got the pin. This is an okay match. Again, it's something different. When Finn Balor was walking up the ramp, Kane comes out, fights with Finn Balor, and tombstones him on top of the stage. Kane then goes up to the ring and sets up for his match against Seth Rollins. Kane had most of the offense in this match. About halfway through, Michael Cole finally realizes that Sheamus and Cesaro are still sitting there at ringside. I don't know how he missed them. They were right in his line of sight.
Duh.
Oh well. Kane was able to get the choke slam on Seth Rollins for the pin. Dean Ambrose comes in, gives the dirty deeds to Kane. Then Sheamus and Cesaro run in, start attacking Dean Ambrose. And then Kane gives tombstones to both Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. We cut backstage, and Daniel Bryan is being wheeled out on a stretcher. And yet, we have another recap-a-thon of what happened with Stephanie McMahon, in case you did miss it the other 15,000 times in the past hour. We then have another backstage segment where the Three Stooges walk into their dressing room and notice that there's a trash bag full of garbage in their dressing room. The Miz freaks out, thinking it's Braun Strowman. He then goes walking around, finds Kane, trying to recruit his help, and Kane tells The Miz that he's on his own. We then have Rhino and Heath Slater versus the Club in a trick or street match. What in the hell? This was an idiotic match. I've never been a fan of this type of gimmick of a match. It's all the same. Somebody gets a pumpkin put on top of their head. Someone gets smacked in the face by a pie. It's idiotic. Basically, Heath Slater and Rhino won The club just got beat by Mr. and Mrs. Claus. We go to another backstage segment where The Miz is trying to recruit the Bar's help. The Bar tells him that he's on his own again. Then we have Elias Sampson out in the ring. He starts playing a song, running down Joe Flacco and Jason Jordan. Jason Jordan comes out, beats up Elias. As Elias is running up the ramp, Jason Jordan breaks his guitar. I am so done with this. This is basically the replacement for Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor. We need to move from this. We then go backstage once again to the Three Stooges trying to bug out. Kurt Angle intercepts them and tells them to get back to their dressing room till the end of the show or else. We then have Enzo and Drew Gulak coming out. Both of them are running their mouth on the microphone, which leads us to our next match, Kalisto versus Drew Gulak. This is basically a quick, useless match. Kalisto won it. After the match, Enzo attacked Kalisto. And then we come to our main event, Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James for the women's title. This is a pretty decent match. Alexa Bliss had a pretty good bit of offense through most of this. Mickie James tried to come back, but Alexa Bliss was able to get the pin. After the match, as Alexa Bliss was celebrating in the ring, the Three Stooges finally get a chance to escape. They get into the limo, and as they start to pull away, there's a trash truck blocking the path. The back of the trash truck opens up, dumps out a bunch of trash, and standing right in the middle is Braun Strowman. The Three Stooges leave the limo and hightail it back to the ring, being chased by Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman fights off all three of them, is trying to put The Miz through the table, but gets attacked by Dallas and Axel. He throws all three of them down towards the ring, throws The Miz into the ring, and is trying to do a power slam when Curtis Axel pulls The Miz off of Braun Strowman, allowing him to escape. But Curtis Axel ends up getting 4 power slams in the ring. Then Braun Strowman carries him up to the top and power slams Curtis Axel into the announcer's table. This is actually an okay Raw. A lot of the matches that they put on tonight were different. We haven't seen a few of these people facing each other before. There were a couple of repeat matches, people we've seen fight each other, but the new matches kind of outweighed those. So it's pretty decent. Tomorrow being Halloween, I'm pretty much going to be expecting almost the same gimmick match as we saw on Raw tonight. Plus, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a retaliation from Raw on SmackDown. But that'll do it for tonight's Raw recap. I'll be back tomorrow for the SmackDown review. Leave a comment down below what you thought of tonight's Raw, or what you thought of this video. If you've liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. I've been Fatalroadie. You've been awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's too loud, you're too old. See ya.